Obviously a big game coming up this weekend.
Yeah, it is. It's an important game for both clubs. Both of us being a win and a loss, so a really important game, and one we encourage all our fans to get along to our second home game of the year, and it's going to be a good test to see where we're at.
Do you take much out of a big win like that on the weekend, Brad, or are you sort of just happy to see what data you got out of it and move on?
Oh, we did what we had to do. I mean, I think that a lot of the pleasing things to come out of the game was we were able to put into practice, all the things we've been working on in the pre-season. But we're also well aware of the fact that GWS are in the embryonic stage of their development, really. So, but we did what we had to do, and we look at things like we do every week. Our GPS data was fantastic. So, regardless of the opposition, you still got to run and cover the ground, and our guys did that really well. So. We'll be looking to take that form into Geelong and that attitude, but we know we're going to be right up against great opposition.
Do you think as the year goes on there's going to be a sense of frustration perhaps from clubs about playing GWS and the Gold Coast if they're going to be such routes?
No, I think they'll be very, very happy if they can win by 130 points.
There's no concerns from the competition as a whole. Do you think that
No, it's really important that everyone puts these things in perspective. I mean, I suppose I look at it from the perspective that I went to a club that was, in its early stages, an expansion team. And for the betterment of the competition and for the betterment of our game, we've got to expand into areas that we're not in. So the expansion into Western Sydney and into the Gold Coast is absolutely critical for the AFL's future. So with that's going to come some short-term pain. But I'm sure that the Gold Coast and GWS are going to be a very, very good team in the future. You only have to look at their talent. They will be a very good team, and they'll be seeking retribution on everyone who beats them handsomely at the moment. So, but the expansion is critical for the comp. Everyone's just got to live with it. It's going to become a talking point throughout the year, but in time that'll all pass, and we'll have a really strong 18-team competition.
You look at this Geelong team, they lost a few blokes from last year. Once again, people are sort of writing them off, saying that they mightn't be as strong as they were, but then we see them on the weekend against Hawthorn, and there's just no change, is there? No,
well, the Geelong footy factory keep rolling new players off the production line, don't they? So, they've just got some outstanding young talent, and their whole production line really, from starting with Stephen Wells and his recruiting team and being able to bring them into a great environment, and then obviously they've got some terrific young development coaches down there who are doing a great job with them. So they tend to get young players who come in and play the Geelong way right from the beginning. So regardless of the names, it's the Geelong jumper we'll be focusing on, and I think it's a great test for our young guys. I mean, we look at the guys who played in defence for us on the weekend: Mullet, Atley, Wright. The comparisons are pretty clear. Guthrie, Smets, all those types of players who are only young players, but they're in a really strong team. So we'll be looking at it to really get a good gauge of how our individuals go against theirs. And wherever you look on the ground, I think the similarities are there. Joel Selwood's a very young captain, a fantastic player. Well, we've got a young captain who's a similar type of inside midfielder. So. I think it's going to be a really good test for where we're at, not only as a collective, and probably more importantly, where our individuals are at.
Is it hard to turn the mindset around? Obviously, the blokes would have had a great time on the weekend doing what they did and winning by what they did, to then get that focus turned on to what's going to be much more of a tougher contest?
Yeah, well, look, we had, I think, about 42 of our players at the game at the MCG on Monday, so they'll be under no illusions as to what they're going to come up against. It was a finals-like atmosphere there on Monday, so the players, if anything, probably got a little bit of a shock as to just what an intense game it was. So they're not going to need any reminding of that from me.
In some ways, would you have liked a more intense hit out in preparation for Geelong, or is recovery just so important that you take the extra day and the less intense sort of win?
No, I think too much has been made of the big win. I mean, as I alluded to, our GPS numbers were better than they've been in my time here. So, just because the opposition aren't up to the standard of the premiership team, we still had to run hard. We still had to work hard. We still had to compete hard. It's just that the opposition couldn't sustain that effort for long enough. So, we think the hit out was really good. What will be the test is how well we can try and play our way against the best team in the comp.
Were you smiling just a little bit on the inside when you saw them belting the crap crap out of each other on Monday.
Yeah, but the problem with that is when they belt the crap out of each other and Joel Selwood just keeps getting up, it's a testament just how hard he is and how good as a side they are. And I don't even mean literally, figuratively, Jimmy Bartell just keeps getting up. Whether they're in a situation where they're down, their senior players just get them up. So, again, it's going to be a great test for our individuals because we've got some players we rate really highly, but they haven't got the runs on the board that Bartell and Selwood and Chapman and Johnson and all these guys have got. So, they'll be really looking to test themselves against them just to get a measure of where they're at.
They've had 6 days since then. Do you expect them just for that to not be a factor at all?
I think it's a factor. I think it has to be a factor physically, but I don't expect it will affect them. Even if they're feeling physically a little bit down, they just get up. You just got to watch their games over the last few years, and they just, they get up both within game when they're not expected to, and they get up in between games as well. So, I think while they might be a little bit sore, I don't think it's going to limit their output.
Tom Hawkins, Brad's been in incredible form. Do you have to bring one of the bigger blokes in to match him?
Yeah, we'll consider that. Because I think Michael Frito and Scott Thompson have been in outstanding form for us. We thought they were two of our better players over the first 2 weeks of the season so far. But Hawkins poses a unique problem. At 197 centimetres and 105 kilograms, and a terrific athlete. We're going to have to look at that option of bringing someone else in. We haven't made that final decision yet, but we'll certainly look at it.
How's Nathan Brymer tracking? The knee's obviously taken a little bit longer than expected to become good.
Yeah, no, but he's looking good. We've been really cautious with him. We made a mistake last year when we brought him back too early, and it was really detrimental to him and to us as a team. So we've been a lot more cautious this time. And I suppose the good thing is, Hansen played last week. Grimer will play this week. Tarrant's available for selection this week and will play. So, we've got all our tools back out there and playing. So we've got plenty of options to pick from there.
Brett, you were diplomatic last week about looking for the 4 points, but how much would it mean to you this week? I mean, this is against an upper echelon team. This is where the measuring stick is, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think we're no different to any other team in the competition when they play Geelong. Hawthorn have been considered a premiership fancy for a couple of years, and rightly so. And it was a huge test for them last week too. So every team that plays Geelong are going to be up against it. Now, I prefer to look this week at, sure, it's a measure of where we're at collectively, but I think individuals are really looking forward to getting out and pitting themselves against the best in the competition in their position. So we look across the ground and there are challenges for all our individuals, and that's the way we'll be looking at it.
So you won't be gutted with a loss here, is that what you're saying?
Oh, I'm gutted with every loss. I'm as competitive as the next guy.
Brett, just on that, you've mentioned Joel and Andrew. Do you specifically, I know there's rotations and it can't be too specific in the midfield, but do you set Andrew for Joel? You say, look, let's see how you two go head to head? Well,
it's difficult to do that in modern footy, but I mean, Andrew Swallow plays predominantly as a centre square on baller for us, and so does Joel Selwood. So I would like to think that they'll get time on each other, and I think Andrew's really looking forward to that opportunity. Joel, he's got a lot of respect for Joel Selwood, as everyone in the competition does, and they're similar types of players. A bit's been made of Joel Selwood drawing free kicks, but the fact is, the player who gets his head in first for the contest generally gets the free kick, and that's why Andrew Swallow had 6 free kicks for last week, because he's usually the one first in with his head over the ball. So it'll be a great contest to see the two of them going at it.